Welcome to .NET Community Stand-Up, the Tooling Hour this week.
Hour? Oh.
Hour?
I was only ready for 10 minutes.
Or time? Whatever time we go to will be the time it is. Hello, I am one of your hosts. I am Kendra. I work on .NET and Visual Studio. Cody, you are also a host.
Yes, I am. I work on all the developer tools. So all of
them. Very cool. Jordan, you are the third host.
Yay! And I work on Visual Studio for Mac.
Awesome. And we have an amazing guest this week. So excited. Hi, Maria.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Maria works on .NET Interactive. I'm so excited to get into it today. They always have some of the coolest demos. No pressure, but it's so helpful. It pops up everywhere. I tend to look. Before we get into that, Maria, we have some stuff that's happening. We just dropped 16.10 Preview 2, Visual Studio 2019 update. So you can check out that preview if you guys got it.
Is there a thing like something about build? I don't know what this is. Is that
yeah. I guess there's this massive conference in May that people could check out. Yeah, and it's all virtual. Do we know if it's open to everyone? Are we just streaming it to the whole internet?
I think it's the same as last year, which is like,
you can just, everyone can attend?
Yeah, I think Kendra froze.
Oh no, I can't, please. Am I back?
Oh, you're back, kind of.
I'm back? Okay, great. Yeah, Build is a 48-hour digital event. I think it's May 20th. Am I right there?
Yes. Let's see, Build. It's 2021, is it?
2021.
25th through 27th.
Oh, 25th through 27th. Okay. I give my developer team a few days early. That'll probably be a good thing, just in case we need to stretch for demos. We got some hot bets, so that'll be full of really cool. Yeah, some of all the latest stuff that made Developer Conference of the Year. So I'm really excited to see people interact, and hopefully we'll have live Q&As and chatable about that.
I think you have to turn it off and turn it back on again, Kendra.
Turn what back?
Put the internet, whatever's like, it's all choppy.
Something went super digital.
Jordan and Kendra traded internet connections, I think.
Crap.
No, it's coming back. Just don't move. That's the secret. Maria's
okay.
Maria's not moving. No, we're all supposed to not move because it's slowing down Kendra's internet.
Oh man, that's worse. Okay. I don't know how much you can hear me.
It's in and out, you know.
All I wanted to say was feel free to post your questions in the chat and we can answer them now.
Yes.
Did that get through?
I'll just repeat it. Kendra said, please feel free to post your questions in the chat. We'll just, repeat it. So I think it's good.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Anyway, build 16. What are we at? 16.10? 16.9?
Oh, the release version, right?
Yeah, we'll be in 16.10 Preview 2 is what we released yesterday. Is it still really bad?
No, it's much better, actually.
No, it's better again.
Okay. Whew, I have no idea how much to say.
Oh, spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon?
It's in and out, yeah.
Okay, I'll leave and rejoin. Sorry.
Okay, we'll talk. I bought a new. I got the new Surface laptop thing. Whoop, where's my camera?
Oh, I like the color.
Yeah, no, I like it's the platinum one. It doesn't have the Alicante, the smooth thing. But that's okay.
No, I got the one I have is the black one. Like I like it, but the smudges are really evident. But it's such a sleek color.
I know, yeah, I like it. I had my laptop 3 is the that black color. Yeah, it's smudge. I have to have lens wipes with me constantly, just to keep it from being too smudgy.
Another thing that's that came out recently was Preview 3 for .NET. That was last week, right?
For .NET 5?
5 for .NET
Yeah.
6.
.NET
For
6,
.NET
right.
6, yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting because, like, in addition to .NET Interactive, I'm also PMing a whole bunch of different things in ASP.NET. So
Nice. I think .NET 6 has Maui on it too, right?
it has Maui on it.
Yeah, I was just looking on the. I know one thing I'm excited in the 16.10 preview release is the editor config. There's a new UI over editor config that I'm starting to chat with Mika about a bit more there too, because we've been looking at that more and more in VS for Mac. This is one, like, if I pick out of the short list of stuff there that I'm really excited around from kind of things we've been looking at lately.
Yeah, editor config is. Let me go through this list too.
Yeah, this is one. And so on Visual Studio for Mac, we're working on our release would be like 8.10, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes on bug fixes and quality stuff. So I hadn't followed along as much just lately on 16.10. So I'm honestly live, like double checking a few things, but that was one that stood out to me. Do you have some call outs, Kendra, now that you're back from 16.10?
Yeah, I really want to call out, we made a bunch of improvements to Test Explorer output. Do I sound okay?
Yes, you're good now.
Okay. To Test Explorer output, so now console.writeLine actually appears in the Test Explorer. So if you just have that throughout your tests, you will see it in test output. You don't have to open additional logs or anything like that. And yeah, just a bunch of improvements. We're reducing UI latency. But the main one, and you can see that standard out in the code lens like pop-ups, which is also very, very handy. That's gotten like 400 likes on Twitter already. I think people are really excited about it. Yeah, so many things that we approved there. We were reducing UI delays for huge amounts of output. And if you have output over 300 characters, we'll show the first snippet and kind of try to summarize. And we try to do it smart. So we might show like the first 10 lines of the stack trace and the last 10 and kind of truncate in between. And there's some really nice like polish going into that. So check that out.
Git improvements too. That's always exciting.
Absolutely.
So the status bar now features an enhanced branch picker or repository picker and sync button. So you can interact with your branches and your repositories in that manner, which seems to be a lot more efficient. I think Václav is working on a lot of that good stuff, right? Was he on last time or the time before last?
Yeah, back in December we had a sync with the design crew, and Václav was one that joined in there.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Always good to see what our friends are working on. Cool. Actually, speaking of which, should we dive into .NET Interactive stuff? Maria, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'm ready, and I'll share my screen for a bit. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint people. You are not going to see the amazing demos that are usually presented by .NET Interactive, but there are tons of videos out there that we've done on YouTube that will show different ways that we've used it. It's just that I didn't get my computer set up properly today, so please forgive me, but I hope you have me back soon and I can do some more incredible, hopefully exciting demos. So
I'm sure this will be exciting.
I hope so. So I'm going to share my screen.
All right.
Let's see what happens here. Okay. This is my first time on this platform. So there we go. Is something happening?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wow, that's gnarly.
Ooh,
Infinite stream.
The infinite. Look at how many users there are. Woo.
Okay, so you should be looking at a page right now. I'm going to move you all to this side so I feel like I'm engaging with you even though I'm on another screen. And I wanted to give a brief history of where .NET Interactive came from. The goal of .NET Interactive was to provide a friction-free experience for people to try out C# code. So when I joined the .NET team 4 years ago, Hunter, who is my skip, and Kendra's skip, Jordan, is Hunter your skip?
A few levels up, yeah.
Yeah, gave me this very incredibly detailed charter where he said, go make .NET relevant to net new people. And I was like, yeah, that's amazing, amazing detail.
So many
And
details, yeah.
so many details. That
Fill it
one
out for you.
sentence was like my entire charter and then joining the team. And what I did at that point was I went and I thought, how do people learn today? How do people learn new languages today? And I went through different languages. I looked at JavaScript, Python, Scala, Go, and I found what they all had in common is they had this way for people to just try the code out in the browser. When you compared it to what we were doing in the .NET space, it was like, hey, welcome, go download Visual Studio, see you in a couple of hours, and then come on over. And then after you've done all of that, you just have console.writeline, done. And then you had all this ceremony baked into something that should be relatively simple. So I proposed that we build an online editor for .NET. And this was all started in 2017. And this began with Try.net, which is the older sibling to .NET Interactive. So if you go to Docs today, and like you can see Kendra here doing like a video, and if you scroll down, you'll see a Hello World numbers in C#. And if you click on that, and then you click Begin, what you'll notice once that loads, hopefully the demo gods are with me, and yeah, it loads. There's an editor in here, right, where you can write code. So I'm going to copy this code over because I am terrible at typing code. Yeah, there we go. I've done it too many times.
Sorry, could you show us how you open that again? I had switched off your screen share just while you were talking to see your face.
Okay, I'll go
So
back.
we're in docs.microsoft.com. Oh,
yeah.
right. And it's just that giant, edit button or start button.
Yeah, you click hello, right? Or any of these different tutorials, click begin. And what this will do is that it will load the Monaco editor. You copy code over. You paste it in. You run it. It was running. There you go. You'll run it and you'll see an output eventually. Now, in the beginning, and you can also edit this as well, because that's also important. We want people to be able to edit code as well. And it changes. Now, when we initially did this in 2017, it was all running on Azure container instances because we wanted to provide an isolated experience for people to run code in the browser. That was great. It did really well, but it got really expensive. I remember once we got a bill for $30,000 and I was in holiday in Mombasa with my family. And I remember getting a text from Scott Hanselman, who was my boss at the time, saying, not to panic, but I just got a message from Hunter, who got a message from Julia that our bills are really expensive because of Try.net. So you need to figure out how to make it cheaper. At that time, Blazor was just coming out, and Blazor is C# on the client side, right? So we said, hey, if they're doing that on the client side using WASM, can't we use that for the code execution? So we switched actually to our code being executed using Blazor, and it's all on the client side. Removed the security boundary for us, right, where it took it to the client, to the customer, and in addition to that, cut our bill in half, like not even in half, by I think over like 99 point something ridiculous %. And that was awesome. And the more and more people saw things like .NET Interact, like Try.net, they're just like, this kind of reminds me of notebooks. And why aren't you all doing that? And we're just like, oh, we don't know. Notebooks aren't really for .NET developers. They don't really use them. We're not going to venture into that space. Then once again, I am having a run in New York. I get a text from Hunter who says, Spark.net is important. No, notebooks is important for Spark.net. Go figure it out. And I was like, yay, lots of detail. And my team went down.
That time it was 2 sentences though. So
yeah, it was two.
Or comma. I don't know how it was formatted, but still.
Yeah, it's like, go figure it out.
Yeah, a lot more detail.
A lot more detail. So we went from 1 to 2 sentences. And the .NET Interactive, the Try.net team had to figure out this entire ecosystem and what it meant for .NET developers. And as you all know, like we all take customer studies really seriously. So we really focused on understanding what did it mean for us to be in this space that is incredibly, that Python has been incredibly successful in. Python has built a beautiful, rich ecosystem in. How do we even compete? And when we went into that space, we found out the way for us to compete was to not have a single language notebook, but to actually have a multi-language notebook where we would be able to support multiple languages running in the same .NET kernel process. And that way people would be able to leverage the libraries from existing ecosystems. Before I jump, does anyone have any questions? Because I feel like I'm rapping here for...
Yeah, we got a person
sorry.
already in the chat asking for the link, and I have shared it to all of the platforms. It should be. And I also posted a URL list for today, so people can check out the new release and all of the .NET Interactive docs that Maria is going to be showing.
Yay.
Okay, I think that's all.
Okay, perfect.
I was going to say, actually, could you clarify, Maria, a little bit? You mentioned both notebooks and like Spark.net. Could you clarify what those are a little bit?
Spark.net, like I am not the expert, I just built, this is the worst part, I build tools for it, but Spark.net is for managing big data. Am I correct, Cody? Because I believe you're in this space. Yeah. And notebooks are like a live document where you can run code and edit it. It's a really interactive way of actually, rather than just having like a single file, you have this mix of markdown with cells, and it's really interactive. It's to me, it's some of the richest developer experiences out there that I have seen. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I hope that answers the question.
Cool.
Do you want to zoom in a little bit on your browser?
Absolutely.
Nice. I can kind of read the second paragraph, but I was worried it was my poor internet, but oh, that's so much nicer. Very cool.
Is that good? Okay.
Oh, that's more than, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, let me bring it down a little. Oh, wow, I've never got to 200%. Let's bring it down a little. There we go. So if you want to learn more about .NET Interactive, you can go over to our GitHub repo, which is .NET/interactive. And I just want to spend some time going through the README just to give you an overview of what we do. So this was our attempt at a marketing thing, right? Which is .NET Interactive.
Nice.
Feel free to laugh. And I have a feeling that Hanselman wrote that. But anyway, .NET Interactive takes the power of .NET and embeds it into your interactive experience, which allows you to share code, explore data, write, and learn across your apps in ways you couldn't before. And you know, remember we started in the web. We started with try.net. We wanted to allow for people to learn in the browser easily. And then we went on to notebooks, right? Which I will be showing a demo of. It won't be a cool demo, I'm sorry, but it will be a demo of people using notebooks with .NET. And Build last year, we built a code bot, right? Using .NET Interactive, because in its core, .NET Interactive is an engine, right? Which allows you to run code in a flexible environment. And what we did is that we built an app where people were collaborating on a code snippet within teams. So we kind of took the experience that we had in the browser and we brought it to Teams. So this link, I believe, and let's just make sure it clicks to it, it will actually click to the code that we presented at Build. And in this presentation, Hanselman was trying to debug something and trying to figure something out. So he pinged someone who said, okay, how do we do this? And they had like console.writeline, and the code bot actually responded, okay, this is what we printed back. So there's an actual interactive experience between these two people executing code. So that's one of the reasons, like one of the ways that we use .NET Interactive. Another one is like on Raspberry Pis, right? We've actually had a demo, and I think I can find it somewhere here, but PyTalk is an education company in the UK, and they use .NET Interactive to teach people .NET on their PyTalk. So it's actually bringing .NET into these educational spaces, which is really interesting. So we wanted to take .NET into places and into devices and experiences that were beyond enterprise applications, beyond web applications. We wanted it to feel fun and fresh for people to use. Any questions?
.NET everywhere. That is
Everywhere.
so cool.
Everywhere. Like I will not stop until I bump into running .NET snippets all over the web and in places I would never expect it, and people are organically finding it and being able to embed it in the experiences that make most sense to them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was definitely Hanselman's doing. .NET Interactive is .NET Unleashed. That was
Unleashed.
him.
That's like
Unleashed. It's like a an 80s movies reference. So yeah. So that's like where, like for our notebook experience, where can you find us? One, we have been in VS Code since last year, so you're able to actually write notebooks in VS Code natively, as well as we do support traditional Jupyter experiences too, like Jupyter Notebooks, Jupyter Labs, and Interact. We have custom visualizations, and then we have a bunch of documentation. So on our repo, there's the README, there's the docs page, right, where we go over the different features that we have, how to build your own extensions for .NET Interactive as well. And we've actually seen an emerging group of developers in the .NET ecosystem actually building extensions on top of .NET Interactive as well, which has been exciting. And if you are not ready, go ahead.
No, this is C# and F#, right?
It's C#, F#, PowerShell, SQL, HTML, and JavaScript, and we are introducing Sql Support as well.
Perfect. That's everything I use. So,
Oh, I am really looking forward to your feedback.
No, I've used the Keystone Preview in Azure Data Studio, and it's fantastic. It works really well. And I use a lot of my notebooks I write in VS Code. So it's once you start to interact that way, it's really powerful. Making reports is like, if that's part of your gig, then it's a lot more. It's a lot more efficient than writing a whole program, then copying and pasting and whatnot.
Exactly. Like I think when we first introduced this, a lot of .NET developers the response that we got is like, oh, I don't have to write console app number 100 to do something. I can pull up a notebook and rapidly prototype and try new APIs right within a notebook, right? And I'll be able to share my results with my team easily, right, in a notebook. And there's so many ways for you to share your notebooks these days that even doesn't require people to have everything on their machine. Like if you are not ready to install the stuff, you can actually launch My Binder. And what My Binder is, I think it's an open source project that is currently being supported by Google. And what this will do is that it will spin up a container for you. This might take a while. And you can start interacting with a Jupyter notebook. And I'll spend some time walking through that. And then we'll just look at some of this in VS Code as well, where I'll share some of our engaging features. While that's spinning up, do we have any questions in?
Just some excitement. .NET Interactive with C# is exceptionally wonderful.
Oh, go. Who is that person? They are my favorite person.
Maria Naggaga, looks like.
Nina, you are my favorite person, hands down. Thank you so much.
Can't wait for C# 10 stuff. Yeah, pretty great. Just more excitement about C# getting elegant and using it on .NET Interactive in VS Code. Thanks, Ovina. Cool. Yeah, lots of excitement.
No, and that excitement is something that our team shares and carries it into our work. So please keep on giving us feedback. We love it. You have helped design .NET Interactive and Try.NET what it is today. And we wouldn't have been able to do this without the community support. So thank you, everyone who has continued to support us. But if you launch this, I wanted to go through some of these things, right? You can we have a bunch of samples where we have our documentation where we talk about the output formatters that we provide out of the box. So let me give you an example of this, right? This is a dictionary, right? So we are going to, let's run this cell. And that when that runs, I want you to pay attention to the feedback. Oh,
Would you be able to zoom a little on this one as well?
Let me zoom in. Oh, I haven't presented in a while. You know, this is my first presentation since coming back. So I'm just like, oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let me see. Hopefully, I zoomed out instead. Okay.
Nice.
Better?
Okay.
But I think we can do it
Oh, yeah.
better.
I think that's good.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about some of the formatting that just comes naturally baked into .NET Interactive. So I have a dictionary of objects here. So let's go ahead and run this. Right? And you get a table, right? Like out of the box, there is this natural experience and output that users are expecting, right? Like you get a dictionary, you get a table, right? If you want to display your objects, let's look at this, right? So we were very cautious about creating experiences where people would get the natural outputs. We didn't want to just look like it was something that you're writing in a terminal. We wanted it to feel like something that could be educational, something that was you could document, something that you could share with somebody who wasn't maybe in the same language or even in the same field, and just be able to run it and get the output that they wanted.
Yeah.
And
So
if we look at
perfect for all of those people, like researchers who are like in between, like my actual thing isn't coding, but I have lots of data and every day I do very complicated tasks. I'm in Excel, please rescue me. Like I love this kind of stuff. Like what do we call them? Citizen developers or something like that was what Sachi was saying. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have something else. What Fusion devs, right? So
Ooh, Fusion.
the Fusion dev is what we call them now, which is a group of people who exist between two worlds, right? So coding, right? If you look at the number of apps that need to be built, and I think Donna Sakar did a presentation on this, it's like 500 million apps have to be built by 2025 or something like that. That is not all going to be built by developers. We have to create platforms. We have to create tooling that allows for more people to build applications in the places that feel most natural to them. And things like notebooks, I feel, are the happy hybrid between connecting business analysts, data scientists, and engineers across a unified developer like coding experience, right? Or user experience.
Because this looks almost like a textbook that I'd like want to read that's explaining everything, that like I have a place for all of the notes, anecdotes, like tables, examples, that kind of stuff. I wish I got to work in this every day. I wish it was like embedded in Outlook, because I'm always trying to explain to my developer team like what weird things I needed to do with our telemetry. Looks good.
Yeah, like a Jupyter extension or a interactive extension that outputs to like a nicely formatted, or even a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
If you could export from Jupyter to PowerPoint, each cell is a slide.
Huge.
I could be twice as productive, 3 times.
And then imagine if not only could we export, but if the code lived in a central location, we could update across all these different experiences. So if I'm a data scientist and I'm just like, hey, the numbers I gave you 2 days ago are kind of different, being able to get it and then push it across these different like user interfaces.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah. Like, sorry, I made a mistake. No, I guess I did it and nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right? You just update the markdown, you update the code cell, and you have a brand new PowerPoint slide, right? Which looks more visually appealing. Right,
on that note, we have a comment saying, can we put it into Excel? That would feel like kind of a good replacement for my VBA or Python plugins that people are using.
That I have seen. I think I've seen experiments internally of people trying to do that. Cody, I don't know if you've seen that as well.
I've not yet though, but I would like it.
It's all like open source, and you already have several examples of embedding it into other things.
Yeah, like maybe like community, the code's all open source. If you look at our extension lab, you can see how you can push it to the limits. And if you find a way, tweet it and let us know, like share it with the world. I think if you wanted to learn more on how to embed it in unexpected places, check out the code conversations. So that GitHub is code conversations/code conversations to see how you could do that outside of a notebook.
Very cool. And did you mention if it's integrated into Azure Notebooks?
So it isn't integrated into Azure Notebooks yet. We are actually working with the team to make that happen. Places where you can see .NET Interactive today, like I'm going to show you how you can run it locally on your machine right now. But you can also see it's coming soon to Azure Data Studio, right? Where they're going to have their SQL, PowerShell, and .NET experiences go through the .NET Interactive kernel. And then Azure Synapse, and there are a group of other people as well, right? We're also working with Azure Cosmos DB to actually bring .NET support there as well, using the .NET extension. And what I like about this is that the C# and F# experience were brought by our team. So my team also owns F# under Philip Carter, the engineering team. We worked on that, but the PowerShell experience was built by the PowerShell team. They brought their extension, and I think it's a couple of lines of code to actually support it. And the SQL experience, which unfortunately I don't have working on this machine, but I'll show you an example, was brought by the SQL team. So what we're seeing is that .NET Interactive has allowed for more languages and groups of people to bring their own experiences. Go ahead.
I think that's like the powerful part of it too, because like we don't want to if you're comfortable writing in SQL, write in SQL. If you're comfortable writing in F#, write in F#. But the results are what matter, right? So we want to make sure that we empower everybody to use whatever they're comfortable with, not try to like push people into a certain direction. So the ease at which new languages are added, I think, is a major benefit of this as well. Definitely.
Yeah. We like it. So far, it's been a huge people have loved it and people have contributed, and as long as people are happy, I'm happy. Like I think DevDiv is just like we make developers happy. So the next thing I want to show, because I don't want to go way too over, is I want to show you the experience in VS Code. So let me just, I love it when these pop-ups come up. Okay. I get this pop-up all the time and I'm like, but I do have it, I promise. So I want to show you the extensions you would need to get this running on your machine. You need the .NET Interactive extension, which is over here. And you are good to go. So I think you also need the Python extension, not Python, the Jupyter extension, because we use it for the UI, but let me check. Yes, you also need the Jupyter extension as well, right?
Is there an extension bundle that comes with it?
Oh,
I can do that in the background, because I know that like sometimes if you install the Python extension, you get Jupyter by default. Let me see.
Yeah, I think if you install .NET Interactive, it will trigger you to get the Python extension as well, but there isn't a together bundle.
Okay, cool. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So to open, let me just do this. Oh no, I have spoilers in here. Wait, Ooh. Okay. You saw nothing. To start a new notebook, all you have to do is Control-Shift-P. It will tell you to open a new notebook or create a blank one. You create a blank one. You'll have C#, right? You can pick C#. Make sure you pick C# Interactive and not C#, because the C# Interactive is us. And then you can start writing code. One of the lovely features within .NET Interactive is the ability to write multiple languages in a single notebook. Now, there are a couple of different notebooks out there in the world that do this already. They're not .NET notebooks, but I don't know how many of them actually have the concept of variable sharing. So suppose that I am in a scenario where I want to use C# for one thing and F# for another thing. Over here in the first cell, you'll see that I am declaring variable X in C#, and you can see that over there. Is that clean enough? Do you want me to zoom in a little bit more?
Yeah, zooming in would be great.
Let's do that. So I will run that cell. You can execute that cell over here. So I have C# subkernel value, right? So there it is. Now I'm going to get that variable and access it in F# over here. So over here, something called the share kernel. It's saying share, hashbang share from C# X. So literally it's getting this from over here. So we're actually sharing a variable from one language to the other. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, this is a much easier example, but I wanted to show you something a little bit, and this is a bug. I need to figure out why that took so long, but this is the beauty of live stream. Stuff like this happens.
Actually, all the time. StreamYard can massively slow down your machine a bit.
That's how everybody knows it's live, though. So.
Yeah.
If it was 2, then be like,
Yeah, I feel a lot better about that. Actually, let's not share this one. No one wants to know about COVID-19 right now. But like it's executed, and I need to report that bug because it took 51 seconds. It's not supposed to take that long. You can see C# subkernel value access from F#, and we go on and on and on, and you can manipulate the variable across different languages. I think the JavaScript one is another good example here, where we actually show how you're using C# in one cell, and then you're using JavaScript for what JavaScript is great for, which is visualization, right? So there was an example when we immediately tried to do this in .NET, it was a ridiculous amount of code. And we're just like, nope, there's an easier way to do this. JavaScript has figured this out, and you should be able to plot in JavaScript. Okay, so let me show you one last thing, and then I'll hand it back to you all. This last month, we introduced Sql Support, and I will zoom in on this as well, which we did with the Azure Data Studio team. We currently support T-SQL and SQLite, but we have like ambitions to support as many SQL databases out there. So if you want them, let us know what you're expecting, and we will continue to add them over the course of the year. For SQL, if you look at this GIF, which I'm going to run for a second, you switch to the SQL interactive kernel. You can start writing SQL. Like from table, it says, hey, what table are you looking for? It will build a connection string for you. You can connect to a SQL database through a kernel name. Like this is like a connection string similar to what you would use in a website. And if you look at this, it will run the cell. Let me zoom in so you all can get the magic here, because I want you to see this. You'll see IntelliSense. Not only are you seeing IntelliSense, you're seeing the IntelliSense across the database schema. So even if I don't know what's in the table, I can actually get IntelliSense on what is in the table. I connect to it, and in a bit, I don't know if we missed it. Yeah, over here, you get a visual representation using the Interact Data Explorer to display your data.
That is amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I was really excited about this. And then we also have Entity Framework core support. So you can scaffold the DB context. So you're just like, okay, I've reached my SQL limits. I'm more of a C#, F# person. I'm just going to switch over. You get the benefits of Link. You still get all the rich visualization. You get IntelliSense all in one notebook. So that is the end of my ramble, I think. I hope people have enjoyed.
That's great. Wow.
Really cool.
What you're seeing right now, I think, it stopped, but is amazing. The way to immediately visualize data and explore data in that way, I think that's it's always interesting to me because it also speaks to different learning styles, right? Some people can look at a table and visualize the data. Some people need visuals to see it and to understand it. And having that support for both of those styles, I think, is out of the box, just like magically, is pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. We have built, extensions that allow you to do this. We have taken advantage of things like the Interact Data Explorer that's very popular in the Jupyter space, as well as Sundance, which is an incredibly rich visualization tool that we have at Microsoft. So we wanted to make visualization even easier than using D3.js. So if you want to write D3.js and write JavaScript to do that, but we also want you to be able to do .data explorer interact and just get a visualization, or .sundance and you get a visualization. And we wanted to provide that ease for users because that's what notebooks are. And what we found in the .NET space is that, Safia, who is an engineer here, says form follows function or function follows form. Anyway, she says something where people will begin to see a tool and use it as they would like. And that's one thing that we found, where we have people on the ASP.NET team using .NET Interactive to test APIs, like instead of using Postman, and they get a rich visualization and they're actually able to edit because it's no longer static. We did an interesting presentation at MVP Summit where we used notebooks to actually troubleshoot a live site to identify that there was crypto mining on the site. So we did this whole thing of these developers have this customer saying the site is slow, and you're just like, what is this? When you're given these vague descriptions, and then being able to cut the server logs as well as the database for the website, we're able to actually look at what was happening and get a visual representation of that. And Azure Data Studio has seen, I think they have about 9,000 or 900, one of the two. So either 900 or 9,000 notebooks that the Azure Live Site team is using as a customer support guide for their engineers to help customers identify, troubleshoot guides. Because once I've identified what this issue was, I can actually share it with my boss. I can actually share it with customers. You run it and you're able to see your results. You're able to update it. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
I truly think, and this is going to be one of my proclamations that probably doesn't come true. I think that interactive notebooks, that's the future of documentation. At one point, all documentation is going to be interactive. And I think that that's super cool because, again, speaking to learning styles and the lack of, I think also if you are in a area with spotty internet connections, you don't have to download the whole Visual Studio of 14 gigabytes to test a few things, right? I think that's another aspect of this that I think is going to empower a lot of people to use these tools.
I think so too.
That's totally going to come true. That's not I hope anyway.
But to just give you an example, Cody, if you looked at the try.net docs, for example, we've been on docs for 3 years now, and we continue to have the highest customer satisfaction of any of the docs across docs.microsoft.com. And I think it is because people can engage with the documents rather than just copy paste.
It's a conversation almost, right?
It's a conversation. You read and you try. You read and you try. You read and you try.
Yeah, I think that's oh, nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Using it for admins, people love it. I always think I can't wait to get this into the hands of teachers. And I think you've already worked with a few coding camps. How has that experience been?
Oh yeah, so unfortunately I haven't, since transitioning fully to feature work, I haven't been working with coding camps as much as I used to.
You worked with coding camps and then you worked on interactive.
Okay, right? Like the work that I did with understanding the way people were learning kind of dictated how I even thought about building product going forward. There are some questions here that I wanted to point to, does it support Elasticsearch? No, not yet. I'll have to check that. One about, yeah,
The link pad?
IPYNB can be really buggy, but DIB works better. That's true. So just to put into context, DIB is a temporary format that we used to work on notebooks until we got IPYNB support in Visual Studio Code. We are aware of the bugginess. We are really working to fix that so you have more of a DIB-like experience. But going forward, we're going to be probably using IPYNB.
Sweet. Did you want to, how does it compare or contrast with LinkPad?
Okay, good question. LinkPad's GUI is unbeatable, right? Like the user interface that you have in LinkPad is brilliant. So I don't know how we compare, but all I can say is that their GUI is phenomenal. I think the only difference that we have is that we are cross-platform because we go with where VS Code goes or we go where Jupyter goes. That would be the contrast. But when it comes to tooling, LinkPad is a mature, amazing tool. And we are actually talking to Joe more on how he can take, what we can learn from him and what he can take from us as well to bring to trying new experiences in LinkPad.
And I think that the language support is a big thing too. Like, if you're going to stay within the Link and Entity Framework ecosystem, LinkPad's amazing. But if you need to hop between R and C# and D3.js, then I see it more as like they're complementary, not competitive.
No, they're not. Yeah, not competitive.
It's very complementary. It's just I would have both side by side depending on what I need to do, and that's the cool thing, I think.
That's a cool thing. Paul, quick, I just wanted to add a question. Like Paul said, DIB because no Jupyter dependency. In the new experience, there is technically no Jupyter extended dependency. So you're not required, you need the Jupyter extension for the notebook UI, but you're not required to have Python on your machine or any of those other things. So you just need the Jupyter extension for the UI and you need .NET Interactive for code execution. What other one is there? Is there a connector for Cosmos DB using SQL? Not yet, but it is on the roadmap, Rob. Yeah.
Cool. Coolness. Just thanks for all of the questions. This has been like wonderful. Yeah, there's so many technologies that I haven't even worked with. So it's always really cool to hear about. Cool. Well, do you want to wrap up today? Keep it a tight 47 minutes?
I think that's perfect.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Maria. That was super, super interesting. Maybe they can tweet you or something if they have more questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. If you have any questions, please tweet Lady Naggaga, which is just cut out the Maria. It's Lady Naggaga. That's me. Please check out the .NET Interactive repo. Try us out. Give us feedback. Your feedback drives better user experiences, and we're building this all for you.
Thank you for joining us. It's amazing, and can't wait to see what comes next.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.